All right, let's just dive right into this. If you are an international student trying to study in the US, you already know that getting the acceptance letter, yeah, that's really only half the battle. The final and honestly the absolute most stressful hurdle is the F1 visa interview. Today, we're cutting through all that noise. In this explainer, we are breaking down the real mechanics of visa approvals pulling straight from the experts over at Bluehawks Edu. We're going to separate fact from fiction so you can walk into that embassy feeling prepared and not completely panicked.
So, it's the ultimate burning question, right? The one literally every single anxious applicant asks themselves at some point. Which consulate is actually the best for an F1 visa approval? You see this plastered all over student forums, especially by folks looking for a kind of golden ticket after they've already had a prior refusal. There's just this desperate search for a secret location that's magically going to guarantee a stamp in that passport.
Take India, for example, which is one of the biggest source countries for F1 students. With major consulate hubs scattered everywhere from Delhi up north down to Chennai in the south, applicants will spend hours, I mean absolutely countless hours, analyzing the map like they're military strategists. They're trying to calculate if booking a flight across the entire subcontinent is somehow going to magically change their fate at the interview window. It's kind of like people think there's a lucky geographic time zone for getting a visa. Crazy, right?
Now, typically, first-time applicants will just keep it simple. They apply closest to home, well, unless appointment availability forces them to go somewhere else. But contrast that with students who have prior refusals. They'll often purposely switch locations. Why? Because they're hoping to hit the reset button in a brand new city to avoid being scrutinized by the exact same officers who denied them the first time around. Honestly, it sounds like a beautifully logical strategy, doesn't it? Just go get a fresh start.
Well, here comes the reality check. Switching consulates absolutely does not hit a reset button. Actually, scratch that. It's more like your visa application records just follow you everywhere in the cloud. Every single consulate accesses the exact same digital system. So that means the officer in Mumbai sees the exact same notes the officer in Delhi just wrote yesterday. You literally cannot outrun your file.
Okay, so let's systematically dismantle some of these pervasive rumors. The idea that some consulates, like say Hyderabad or Mumbai, just have inherently higher approval rates? Totally false. They all operate under the exact same US visa laws and strict guidelines. What about the myth of hunting for a friendly visa officer? Well, officers are rotated regularly specifically to maintain strict objective fairness. And as we just talked about, switching consulates to guarantee success is a complete illusion. Success depends entirely on addressing your previous weak points, not changing your zip code.
Now, I completely get why it feels so arbitrary. You can't choose your visa officer, and you definitely can't choose your counter. It's entirely random by design. And, because officers are human beings, their interpretation of those objective guidelines can sometimes vary slightly from person to person. Because of that, it can absolutely feel like luck was the deciding factor. But listen to me, treating your application like a roll of the dice is incredibly dangerous for your future. If we actually want to take control away from luck, we have to understand the real hurdle here. Section 214B of the U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act. This right here is the most common reason for an F1 visa refusal. To put it in plain English, getting a 214B refusal means the officer simply wasn't convinced. They either doubted you'd return home, they felt you lacked clear academic goals, or they saw some glaring holes in your finances.
Let's break those triggers down into a really clear diagnostic checklist. If you're staring at a 214B refusal, it almost always boils down to one of three things. First up, unconvinced intent. The F1 is a non-immigrant visa, meaning you absolutely must prove your future is firmly anchored back home. Second, insufficient clarity. If you can't articulate exactly why you need this specific degree from this specific university, that is a massive red flag. And third, inadequate finances. If the math just doesn't add up for your tuition and living expenses, they are going to hit the brakes hard.
So how do we pivot from a refusal to an approval? Well, here is your step-by-step roadmap to get it done. Step 1. Be brutally honest with yourself about which of those specific triggers caused your past refusal. Step 2. Prepare and practice very clear, concise explanations for those weak points. Step 3. Do not do this alone. Seek expert guidance and do mock interviews with professionals to build up that confidence. And finally, Step 4. Bring concrete changes to your profile.
Let's look a little closer at that last step. Because if you're going back for another interview, you cannot just present the exact same application and hope for a luckier officer. No way. You have to absolutely prove your situation has genuinely improved. This means bringing new evidence to the window.
We're talking additional academic achievements, maybe some new relevant certifications, significantly improved and well-documented financial backing, or highly refined career goals that make perfect logical sense. You have to bring the receipts.
All right, let's say you've built that undeniable profile. Boom, it's interview day. Here are your rapid-fire behavioral rooms. Think of this as your insider cheat sheet. Number 1, be honest. Always provide truthful information because trust me, they will check. Number 2, be concise. Visa officers are incredibly busy, so skip the long, rambling life stories and get straight to the point. Number 3, show home ties. Constantly connect your studies back to your long-term future in your home country. And number 4, be confident. Excessive nervousness just makes them doubt your intent. Remember, how you present the facts is just as important as the facts themselves.
I really want to leave you with this powerful, summarizing truth directly from the Bluehawks Edu Explainer material. Approval largely depends on the strength of your profile and preparation, not the consulate or visa officer. Seriously, this is the ultimate takeaway. You hold the power here. It's not about finding a magic building in a certain city, and it's definitely not about crossing your fingers for a friendly face at the counter. It is entirely about the undeniable strength of your application.
So ask yourself this. Are you spending your time hoping for a lucky consulate, or are you ready to put in the actual work to build an undeniable profile? It is time to drop the myths and take total control of your destiny. Understand your weak points, gather your hard evidence, practice your delivery, and walk into that embassy knowing exactly why you deserve that F1 visa. Good luck out there. You've got this.